Now it's time for us to listen from our Chief Guest of the Day, CAK Raghu, past President ICA. Sir, I request you to kindly come forward.
Good evening to all the members present here. Let me first of all congratulate our newly elected chairman, CA BT Shetty, for having assumed chairmanship of one of the most happening branches in the country. I've traveled around the country, visited so many branches. Let me tell you, friends, our branch is an extremely active and vibrant branch. And I would like to compliment the entire team for the hard work they're putting in. And I'm sure Mr. BT Shetty, with the action plan, what he has presented to all of us as to how he wants to empower the members, how he wants to focus on student services, member services, I think we'll have an exciting year. And we wish you good luck, Mr. Shetty, and we are all there to support you. Mr. Dayanivas Sharma has offered his wholehearted support to you and your team. And we're very happy that Dayanivas has come all the way from Hyderabad to be with us today. A very dynamic council member is Mr. Dayanivas Sharma. The kind of activity what we have seen in the institute last year in spite of the pandemic, I think my compliments to you. Please convey my compliments to the Honorable President, the past President. Two important things that went to the credit of the last year was conducting examinations in 1,200 centers in just a span of 1 month. It's something fabulous. Number one. Two batches were rolled together and all the students were able to write the examination in, with all the protocols in place. My compliments to you, Dayanivas, for entire council, president and vice president, for the good work that you have done. And number two is for the international networking, what they've done, the kind of chapters they've opened around the world. Today, you have a lot of international ICA chapters. So anyone wanting to go to any country can get connected to these chapters. These two initiatives are something which are very laudable. And I'm sure your continued support to the branch, the new facility that is coming up in Rajajinagar, we will have it inaugurated maybe during this year, maybe 12 months down the lane. And we thank you for the excellent support you are giving to the Bangalore branch. And friends, I would be failing in my duty because I was the chairman of the branch. Every office bearership of the branch is exciting. I've served as a secretary, like how Divya is a secretary today. I've served as a secretary, vice chairman, and chairman. Let me tell you, every office bearership is a learning experience. You get an opportunity to meet the members, interact with them, get to understand the profession better. You get a 360-degree view of the profession. And I always tell my friends whenever I meet them, my exposure, what I got at the branch was something that you can, even now I treasure it. The kind of interaction we used to have with the members here, the kind of programs what we used to conduct, even those days. I'm very happy that Srinivas, Vice Chairman, we all seen how hardworking he is. Divya, Secretary, we wish them all the best, and Panindra. And I would be failing again if I don't congratulate Ravindra Kore, sitting here 24/7 in spite of the pandemic, getting connected to all the members, winning the best branch. I think a lot of accolades to you, Mr. Ravindra Kore, for the good work you have done. And we wish Geeta good luck. We are seen slowly, climbing up the ladder. We wish her good luck even in the regional council. I'm sure one day we would like to see her as the chairman of the regional council. And finally, our good friend Guraj Acharya. I remember when I was the chairman of the branch, Guraj Acharya used to extend total support on all the on the technical side. Every chairman requires some support. And here I see one gentleman. Guraj is a good friend of mine. We did CA together. We studied CA together, and he's always been supportive of the Bangalore branch. Whenever you call him, he's always available. Not only the Bangalore branch, at various national committees. When I was the vice president, he has worked in the national committees. He has put his best foot forward and helped him. My compliments to you, Guraj Acharya, for your contribution to the profession. Friends, I think today being the first day, yes, there will be some spillover of time. This session had to get over at 4:30 for high tea. Nevertheless, we had so many formalities. Maybe the next, what I decided was maybe I will, cut short my presentation. I had to speak for half an hour, but considering the fact that we're running behind schedule, I'll just try to make it a 15-minute presentation to just take you through the standard setting process, what exactly is happening at ICA. After having worked in the Accounting Standards Board, the Auditing Standards Board, having represented India on the International Federation of Accountants, where all the standards come to us for approval, I thought it's an opportunity for me to just give you a status as to what is happening on the accounting standards front. Friends, today what is happening is that the economies have opened up. A lot of cross-border transactions are taking place, and a lot of free flow of international capital. As a result of which, every country has to look at migrating to one standard, because earlier every country has its own standards. Like in India, we had the Indian GAAP, Pakistan had Pakistan GAAP. So there was a need for one set of reporting standards so that we could reduce the cost of compliance. Investors could understand the financial statements more effective. That was the reason why there was a need for global accounting standards. So that is when we saw IFRS. IFRS was something that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India decided that yes, we need to converge with IFRS. And because of the globalization of the capital markets, we saw investors investing in the Indian capital markets from around the world. Complexity of business operations, there was a need for one single set of accounting standards, so which were easily understandable. So the International Accounting Standards Board is the creator of the standards, the IFRS. All these standards, as you know, are principle based, drafted lucidly, and are very easy to understand. The only thing is that you have to learn these new standards. And I can tell you, friends, having seen these standards very closely in the council, each and every paragraph is read, and then we discuss and debate, and then we approve the whole process. I can only say that IFRS has brought about a transformation in way accounting standards are implemented in various jurisdictions around the country, around the world. And considering the fact IFRS has brought in a uniform reporting system, there's a need for financial statements. Any investor around the world should be able to read a financial statement of a company in India, because you might have an investor in Singapore, you might have an investor from London who would like to invest in a stock in India. He should be able to read the financial statements. That is when IFRS was considered to be very critical and important. So basically, it promotes transparency, accountability, and efficiency. And those days, I still remember companies like Infosys and Wipro voluntarily, prepared the financial statements under IFRS, because they had investors around the world, and they also had a GDR issue, which made it mandatory for them to have their financial statements, under IFRS. So what is really happening is that we find that the entire IFRS implementation around the globe is rapidly progressing. Today, we have 166 countries or jurisdictions, you could say, who have implemented IFRS. That's a very big number. And I'm happy to say that India is a part of it. And what is it there for all of you here? All of us here on a Friday evening are listening to an eminent speaker like Mr. Gururaj Acharya, trying to understand the importance of these accounting standards. What is important for each one of us sitting in this hall is, what is it in for me? Friends, especially for the young chartered accountants sitting behind, I can say there's a great international opportunity. Plenty of opportunities for IFRS professionals from India. Daya would agree with me. Whenever we travel abroad, when we go to Doha, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, there's a lot of demand for chartered accountants, the knowledge of IFRS. Similarly, in Australia. So sky's the limit. If you have the knowledge of the financial reporting standards, you can just pick up your bags and look for a great career opportunity in any of these countries. And the institute can support you, and you can reach out to these chapters, and these chapters will help you to get placed with the local companies. Number two, valuation experts. As you know, under IFRS, assets and liabilities are to recognize at fair value. This creates a demand for valuation professionals, and I'm very happy that the institute has taken the lead to set up the valuation standards board, and the institute has sort of tried to launch the online certification courses on valuation, which will help you to get the required qualification for you to do valuation under the IFRS regime. This is another big opportunity for all the chartered accountants who want to settle down in India and who are not keen to go abroad, but yes, they want to be a part of the IFRS transformation. They could be valuation experts. Number three is that they could be IFRS specialists. Today, let us say a company in Bangalore wants to migrate to IFRS. They could have the services of Mr. Gururaj Acharya, who's an expert in IFRS. He could interpret all the complex issues and help them to transform. So each one of us sitting here can be appointed as a consultant for an IFRS switchover. So there's a huge opportunity today. The kind of opportunities what we see in for appointment of IFRS specialists in this company is very high. So coming to the Indian story, I think a very quick thing I would like to say, all of us have studied accounting standards. The process is more or less the same. We have, whenever the Institute of Chartered Accountants, the Accounting Standards Board decide that they need to have a study of a particular standard, preliminary draft is prepared, then it goes to the Accounting Standards Board that looks into all the issues. They look into the preliminary draft and issues of that, and then it's put up for public comment. And finally, after this, ASB considers comment received on the exposure draft and finalize the draft accounting standard for consideration of council. It comes to the council. After it is recommended by the council, it goes to NAFRA, and Government of India notifies the accounting standard. Now it's called Ind AS. And for non-company entities, the ICA issues the accounting. This is the current status. The entire standard setting process goes through a robust mechanism. Whenever any standard has to be formulated, a lot of experts are involved in this formulation of standards, goes through a very robust standard setting process, goes through public opinion, goes through the Accounting Standards Board, council, and then goes to the government for notification. This is the process, and now today the National Financial Reporting Authority is the authority that mandates the accounting standards in the country. So we decided to go for convergence. We had a debate for one full day in the institute whether we should go for convergence or whether we should adopt. Countries like Pakistan overnight said we are adopting IFRS. Countries like Nepal said we are adopting IFRS, but India said nothing doing. We're going for convergence, considering the fact that there's so many issues that is affecting in a country like India, so many challenges we have. We thought convergence is the best route, and the council in its wisdom decided that India will go for the convergence. And today, after extensive consultation with the MCA, Reserve Bank of India, IRDA, we decided that we will go for convergence. This is the timeline. I would not like to go through it. We began in 2015-16, and then if you see how exactly the IFRS rollout happened in India, we decided that it should voluntarily the companies should apply Ind AS in the preparation of financial statements. And slowly, if you come to 2021, other than insurance, banks, and insurance and banking companies, more or less all other entities are there. And I'm sure way forward, more and more entities would have to adopt Ind AS in the preparation of financial statements. So time is not very far. You're running out of time. You have not, what you can say, read the new standards. I think you should make a beginning. So these are the standards, more or less. I think by the time Dayanivas becomes the president, there'll be nil carve-outs. We're just having 9 carve-outs. People will ask, what is the difference between Ind AS and IFRS? There's just 9 differences. It was about 11 differences, 9, it's 9 differences. I'm sure when you become the president, we'll be completely IFRS and the Ind AS would be the same. But yes, these carve-outs are required. It was essential. We are trying to see how best we can reduce the carve-outs. And these are the initiatives what we have done. For all of you, educational materials are available that can be downloaded by all of you. Video lectures available in the digital platform. Then a lot of training, online certification courses, training programs that's being conducted, and webcasts and podcasts are a big success. All the education material have been well researched. You have the top experts in the country speaking on all these things. So my request to each one of you is you need to get started as early as possible. So what is the way forward? Friends, there's a need for accounting standard for the SMEs. That's being discussed for a long time, but even now it has not been finalized. But globally, yes, you'll have a set of accounting standard for SMEs. That's number one. And ASB will continue to work with the International Accounting Standards Board. Today, we have so many other forums like the AOSSG, Asia Oceanian Standard Setters Group, Emerging Economies Group, International Forum of Accounting Standard Setters, where we're working with them closely to see that we come out with high quality standards. Very quickly about auditing standards, I think I would not go into the objectives and functions of auditing standards, but one thing is important, that auditing standards are very, very critical, considering the fact the frauds are increasing, considering the fact regulators are losing the trust on the quality of attest functions being done by the members. I think you need to adhere to the quality standard, the auditing standards that has been brought out by the AASB. And I can only say, friends, I've seen these standards. I've gone through the standards. It has come to the IFAC also for approval. Most of the standards are very well researched, and you should start applying them in carrying out your, attest functions. A lot of activities with AASB. They're trying to disseminate knowledge, conduct research, contribution to international platform, and interaction with the regulators. And these are the technical publications. We have guidance notes, clarifications given by the council. Then we have standards on auditing, standards on assurance engagements, on review engagements, and related services. These are the basic initiatives that are done by the AASB. So this is something a very important slide. I thought I'll just sum it up in one slide. You have SQC1, it's the master you can standard on quality control. Then you have engagement standards, which is again assurance based and other standards. And in assurance based standards, you have standards on auditing, assurance engagements, and review engagements. And on other standards, you have standards on related service. So if you're able to get a picture of these standards, I think very well you're in control of all the auditing standards. So basically, friends, what is very important is that whenever you apply, whenever you find that you have standards in audit, it's mandatory. Please keep in mind that all these standards now is a part of the curriculum. It is mandatory when you're carrying out your attest function, conducting an audit of a company, you have to follow the standards. Guidance notes, again, is mandatory, but in case you're deviating from the guidance note, appropriate disclosure should be made as to why you're deviating. And as far as other literature is concerned, it's recommendatory in nature. So these are some of the service and assurance standards that have been given. I will not go into great detail. And again, these are the engagement standards, standards on auditing. And of course, what is the benefits of auditing standards? I can only say that the benefits that would arise by following these auditing standards, the quality of audit would improve. Today, friends, when we go to the Reserve Bank of India, when we talk to them about bank audit, the first thing that is raised before us is the quality of our bank audits. You go before the CBDT, when you appear before the chairman, our tax audits are being questioned. You go to the MCA, they ask you the frauds that are not being discovered with auditors. Every regulator is looking at, telling you that the quality of the work being done by our members is not up to the mark. So how do we scale up the work? I think each one of us should introspect and see how we can scale up the work in our offices, how we can train the staff on these standards, how you can have proper documentation that is required for you to conduct audit. Chairman of the peer review board is Daya. He was telling me that they brought about a lot of changes. Today, audit documentation could be on digital form. You don't need to maintain hard copies of all, but documentation is critical because even in the disciplinary proceedings, what I've seen, I've been through the disciplinary proceedings for more than 3 years as a president, vice president, also as a council member. When we ask them for documentation, when they've issued a certificate to a bank or any institution, when we ask them what is this, papers you have document, they say, sir, we do not have it. So this is one thing which you need to keep in mind. Whenever you carry out an attest function, whenever you do an audit, please ensure that you maintain proper audit documentation, digitize it so that it's accessible to you at any point of time. Because if in case you are subjected to disciplinary proceedings without audit documentation, you will be in trouble. That is my suggestion to you. So the auditing standards gives a reasonable assurance to the stakeholders, and it improves the quality and of the audit. And basically what really happens is the quality of audit would definitely go up. One slide on the ICDS. ICDS were issued by the Government of India in exercise of powers conferred under 145 Income Tax Act. 14 ICDS has been brought out of, after which 10 have been notified. Yes, these were the objectives, were very simple, but ultimately, friends, whether you're following the auditing standards, whether you're ensuring the entity is following the ICDS, one thing you need to be sure is that there's a lot of expectation from the stakeholders as far as the profession is concerned. Today, the kind of frauds, what you're seeing in the corporate sector, the kind of increasing NPAs in the banking sector, the question is, what were the auditors doing? I think all of us are aware of that. So let's resolve and let's try to see, at least in our own practice unit, can we improve the quality of audit? Can we improve the quality of work that is being done by our staff? Can we train our staff is something which we need to ponder. I'm sure this seminar, Gururaj Acharya would take you through the entire various standards, accounting standards, and he will guide us as to what exactly you need to do. And I'm sure all of us would be immensely benefited by this session. I'm extremely delighted to inaugurate this first conference on a hybrid mode, I can say. Generally, the institute conducts programs, when I qualified as a chartered accountant in 1990, I used to come to the branch. Those days we were meeting near Minerva Circle, near Minerva Circle, we used to attend the programs. Then we moved to this branch premises. We had a physical attendance. If you want to attend a branch program, you have to come to the institute, sit down and listen. pandemic gave us an opportunity for webcast, but now we are following a hybrid model. I think you should continue the hybrid model. My request to the entire committee, this hybrid model should continue, and I hope I would ensure that whether you're watching it here or watching it at home, CP credit will be given. That he will ensure. And I would only request the chairman that hybrid should continue for some more time, because many people are finding it very comfortable to listen to. I've seen some of your webcasts last year when Ravindra Kore has done extremely good. The quality of the transmission, the audio, everything is top end. And I would request the chairman to see that this hybrid continues for some more time. My heartiest congratulations to the entire team once again, and good luck to each one of you. We are more or less out of the pandemic, you could say, but nevertheless, I just was telling Dayanivas is traveling around the country. Baba, please take care, because of course I have not traveled since the last about 1 year, but Dayanivas is traveling a lot. I told him, please do take care, and I'm sure we'll be able to get over the challenging times what we have, and good luck to each one of you. Thank you very much.
Friends, an excellent presentation from our chief guest. He explained the standard setting process, IFRS and Ind AS and many more things. Thank you very much, sir. Please put him a big round of applause. Friends, I missed out to mention about our first day resource person, CA Gururaj Acharya, sir. Last year also we began the program in his hand. Acharya Mukhena shuru madidvi. Acharya Mukhena yaude karyavana shuru madidru ಸಾಂಗವಾಗಿ ನೆರವೇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಮು ಬಾರದೆ, ಯಾವ ಸಂಕಷ್ಟನೂ ಬಾರದೆ ನೆರವೇರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಳೆದ ವರ್ಷ ಪೆಂಡಮಿಕ್ ಬಂದ್ರೂ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈ ವರ್ಷನೂ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅವರು ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷದಿಂದ ನಾನೇ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರೇ. On behalf of Bangalore branch, on behalf of all of you, and on behalf of my committee, on my own behalf, this is the time to felicitate our chief guest and our first resource person, Sri Gururaj Acharya. I request our Central Council member, Dayanivas Sharma sir, to felicitate them on this occasion. Please join all the dignitaries on the dais.